again and welcome to a very nippy garage or workshop, but you know, us wood turning folk are hardy, so I'll put up with it. Not quite as cold, I must hasten to add, as my friends over in the US are experiencing at the moment, but it's cold enough for me. Today's video is going to be basically an update on the UK and Ireland Woodturning Symposium, and also a couple of tips on, mainly for beginners I should think really, on tool rests. I've had many questions over the last few months about various things, so I'm going to address those today as well. On the UKIWS front, it's now that Christmas is over and the January blues are behind us, and we are looking forward now to spring and coming into summer, and of course the weekend in June when we meet you all in Coventry. We've had some great developments over the last few weeks. The Register of Professional Turners, the RPT, and also the Worshipful Company of Turners are going to have a presence at the event. So along with the AWGB, we are being supported by the major players, if you like, of the woodturning community in the UK, and we're really pleased with the support they are giving us. Some more news regarding the hotel. The discount codes have now been released, and as Martin said on his video, book early because we only have a specific number of rooms available at the discounted price. So if you're thinking of staying the weekend or even only for one night, get onto the booking forms. All the information is on the website. I'll obviously put a link to the website and indeed to Martin Saban-Smith's channel with his update, because it'll be in detail as usual. I'm just sort of giving a précis view of it. The other great thing is that we have launched a competition called the Spirit of Turning, and again Martin will go into all the details there and all the intricacies of the competition, and it's not difficult to enter. Will be explained to you either on the website or indeed Martin will do that on his video that he has just uploaded. There are great prizes to be had in this competition. I'll whet your appetite by just telling you that the first prize in both categories, that's the youth and the adult categories, will be a day's wood turning instruction from a top UK turner. Terrific prize, and there'll be many other great prizes as well. All the details, as I say, head over to Martin's channel or indeed to the UK and Ireland Woodturning Symposium website. And that's basically it. As far as UKIWS is concerned, ticket sales are going extremely well. Thank you everybody that's bought tickets, we're really looking forward to seeing you. And also the masterclass tickets, they're going very well as well. So hopefully a great weekend will be had by all. So what I'll do now is change the camera angle and I'll go over to the lathe and just go through very quickly a few questions that I keep on getting asked regarding. The main question I get regarding tool rests is, why do I use a solid round bar tool rest as opposed to the standard one? Well, I use both. I do like this particular one. There are several reasons for it. Number one, it doesn't get marked so easily, and it's very easy to keep smooth just with a little bit of wire wool. This is a modular system by Robert Sorby, so you have different size crossbars that screw onto the tool post. But I'm not going into the whys and wherefores of that, it's basically the design. Now when let's just take this for example, forget the tool rest height at the moment because this isn't what I'm talking about, it's about the design of the tool rest. Now the tool goes, this is a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. The tool runs across very easily, okay, now, and you don't get the dinks and so on there. When you are running along the length of a spindle, the problem with this design of rest is that if you want to go from, let's say, right to left, across there, you want some form of a guide, so your finger will be the guide. So when you're running across, this part of your finger comes into contact with the tool post here, so you basically exaggerating, you're going to come out and in. Now if you can alter your position and go further up the tool rest like so. Not very comfortable, but it can be done, and that way you can maintain the equidistance from the blank. The other downside, if you like, is that however close you get your tool rest to your work, and as you know it should be as close as possible, the pivot point, if you look here, I'm rubbing the bevel there, and the pivot point is around this, about an inch from the tip of the tool. You can't get any closer because of the round bar, obviously. Now if I put a standard rest in, it's quite obvious I can get much closer, and I've got bevel contact, and I'm literally about half an inch away from the work. So there is that advantage of the standard design rest. And also if you put your finger, your index finger, in the groove, and you can then use that as the guide right the way along the rest. And also with the bigger rests, the same thing applies. So it's preference, what you prefer, and I use all of them, but I do prefer the solid bar for spindle work. The other thing is tool rest height. That's the other question I get asked a lot of. What height do you have your tool rest? Well, the only way I could really think of showing you this is having the centre, and I'll just lock it off there. Now this is the tool rest at centre height, okay, there. Now for obvious reasons, if I'm using my 3/8 spindle gouge even, that is a little bit high, because to get to the centre I've literally got to lift the tool right up here, and it's a little bit high for me, but it's a personal choice. What most people say when asked what height is the tool rest, they say just below centre, so that enables you to take the cut just above centre. But this depends on quite a few factors. It depends on the angle that you hold the tool to the rest, to the work I should say. It depends on the height of your lathe. It should ideally be, I'm bending my arm here, the centre of the spindle should ideally be at elbow height. But again, that is a starting point, and for comfort and how you perform best, you will find out with experience. But it is a starting point, like the height of the tool rest. Because let's say this is just below centre point, I think you'd agree, and this is a 3/8 spindle gouge. Well, if I take a 1/2 inch spindle gouge, or 10mm spindle gouge, it's too high. So I have to lower it slightly. Only a mil, maybe a 1.5 mils. And then that gives me a much better height to work with. And similarly, if I had a bowl gouge, this is a 5/8 bowl gouge, you can immediately see this is too high. So again, I'd have to lower the tool rest to compensate for the size of the tool that I'm using. So this rule, if you like, and it's not a rule, of have the tool rest just below centre height is a starting point for you to find the best position for you. Similarly with the skew chisel, if you take a skew chisel, a lot of people don't like working with a skew chisel this way. They would prefer to have the rest higher, and that way, especially for a planing cut, that way you are at less of an angle to the work with your body, and it's easier to control. Again, it's personal preference, but as I explained, this is basically for beginners and people starting out in wood turning. As a rule of thumb, to start you off, get the tool rest just slightly below centre height and work from there and find out your favourite position. Well, I hope that's answered the questions I do get asked very regularly regarding tool rests and tool rest height. One further thing, with regards to these, I very rarely use this one when I'm turning bowls, because again, for the same reason, and I tend to use the longer 12-inch one I've got there, 14-inch one, because I can turn that in and get really close to the concave wall of the bowl when I'm finished cutting or hollowing out, which means I get less vibration and the tool is hanging over the tool rest by the minimum amount. So I hope this has answered the questions. Obviously in comments, people with more experience than I, your comments are always welcome, and I hope it's been of some use. Well, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers now.